Wealth, fame, power, zombies, ghosts, shadows, mad doctors, and pirates. What do these 8 things have in common? Well, being a central story arc in the manga called One Piece, I'll tell ya. Yes, I'm switching gears and flying over to Japan to take a look at one of my favorite story arcs from one of my favorite manga series, the Thriller Bark arc. Now, it might be a bit weird talking about one of the later story arcs from the first half of One Piece, but I wanted to dip my toes into something more fun before I start covering the deep stuff, like the Water 7 and Enies Lobby arcs. Now, a few ground rules. Since this is very late into the main story, I'm assuming everyone knows who's who and the concepts behind the One Piece world, such as the Warlord system, as the main antagonist of this arc is one. Thriller Bark is mostly self-contained, so that shouldn't be a problem. Also, the concept of devil fruits, since it's tradition that a new crop of them sprouts up each arc. All that being said, let's get on with it. Thriller Bark is nearly 50 chapters long, covering 5 volumes, so expect a long video. Out in the waters of the Grand Line sail the Straw Hat Pirates. They just got their brand new ship, the Thousand Sunny, built by their latest member, Frankie, after the events of Vanny's Lobby. They're just sailing away, getting used to their new ship, when they find a barrel drifting at sea. They think it's treasure, when in reality it's a flare that shoots up into the sky. The Straw Hats are a bit unfazed by this, especially since the concept behind a flare is to alert someone else of your location. I don't expect this level of reasoning from Luffy, but come on, Nami, I know you're up to speed. Well, maybe she didn't have time to think about it, since she senses a storm coming. They all batten down the hatches and ride out the storm. However, they drifted into the middle of the Florian Triangle, a place where over 100 ships disappear every year, according to Sanji. He does this to scare Usopp and Chopper, probably to get a good laugh out of their paranoia. However, that turns out to bite him right in the ass when an actual ghost ship sails them past, without a care in the world. Undeterred by the supernatural, Luffy goes on board and finds a walking, talking, rockin' skeleton by the name of Brook. They, and by they I mean just Luffy, invite him on their ship to enjoy a meal and get him to join their crew. Despite being a sin against nature, there is a completely logical explanation behind Brook's existence, according to him, as logical in the world of One Piece, so to speak. Brook ate the Revive fruit, a devil fruit that allows the user to come back to life after they die. An odd ability for sure, especially since it grants the user no abilities outside of that, but still makes them unable to swim as standard with all devil fruit weaknesses. That's how Brook became a skeleton. As to how he became adrift in the Florian Triangle, he was on a pirate crew a long time ago. They came across a band of powerful pirates that were less than friendly, and that's how they all died, Brook included. And that's the story of how Brook became a walking, talking, rockin' skeleton. There's actually much more to that story, more to come, which is actually really depressing enough, but it gets worse. Despite being eternally grateful for the company, after being alone on that ship for years, Brook cannot join the crew. He wants to, make no mistake, but the problem is that he doesn't have a shadow. He's basically an old-school vampire at this point. No reflection and will disintegrate the instant he sees the sun. What happened was the man stole it, and it's only because of the thick, dense fog of the Florian Triangle that kept him from seeing the sun. He can't join the crew without his shadow, and Luffy's like, easy peasy, I'll get it back. However, Brook can't bring himself to ask such a kind individual like Luffy to fight against a strong opponent. Brook will get it back himself when he meets the man again, but in the meantime offers to sing the crew a song, since he's a musician after all. But before Brook could tune his violin, that sounded oddly sexual, there's a sudden shaking, and a ghost flies into the Thousand Sunny. Turns out the ship has been swallowed, kinda sorta, by another ship, a much bigger ship, and the setting for this arc, the Ghost Island Thriller Bark. Thanking them for the meal, Brook jumps off the Sunny and runs on the water to the island, determined to get his shadow back. Luffy, after witnessing that and taking into account that Brook is a walking, talking skeleton, as well as being a musician, something Luffy has been searching since East Blue, pretty much cemented his spot on the crew. With no way out, the Straw Hats, mostly Luffy, opt to go searching on Thriller Bark. Nami, Chopper, and Usopp take the Mini Mary out for a spin, but accidentally fall down a trench close to the island. While they're being chased by a Cerberus who is sensitive about being one-third fox, the Straw Hats on the Sunny are attacked by an invisible man. He lusts after Robin and makes animal noises before leaving, lowering their anchor to prevent them from leaving. Back on the island, the trio gets away from the Cerberus and meet Hildun, who's just hanging around. He takes them via carriage to the mansion owned by Dr. Hogback, a legendary doctor other doctors look up to, according to Chopper, and they're going to go see him at his mansion, but not before being attacked by the zombie welcoming committee. They reach the mansion and meet Dr. Hogback and his plate-hating servant, Sindri. He takes them in and explains why he's here. Basically, he's trying to figure out a way to raise the dead, so people could reunite with lost loved ones. A very noble effort for someone who is completely insane. After dinner, Nami takes a bath and is attacked by the same invisible man that attacked the ship. Usopp saves her and he flees before things get rated R. Back with the other ship, the Sunny and Brook's ship is stuck in a giant spider web, and they set foot on Thriller Bark. They come across the same Cerberus who, after some good old-fashioned taming on Luffy's part, leads them into a cemetery filled with zombies. After Luffy's attempts to deal with the zombies have failed, the group beats the ever-living crap out of them, and asks where their friends are, and are led in the way of the mansion. Meanwhile, in the mansion, Nami, Usopp, and Chopper are trying to find a way to leave the building. Nami's getting a bad vibe from this place, especially what happened in the bathroom, and doesn't trust Hogback. Chopper tries to defend him, but they are soon attacked by zombies disguised / are the furniture. While it looks like they might be done for, they stumble into a secret passageway which leads them to Dr. Hogback's private room, filled with many photos of Sindri, but without any scars in them. Also, according to some article, Sindri died 10 years ago. The trio are chased out of the room before they could continue their investigation. However, they are being chased by a samurai zombie. Outside, Luffy and friends come across a zombie, an old man with severe injuries, and he begs them for help. Like Brook, his shadow was stolen, as well as countless others who are also watching from the shadows. He says the man who did this was Gecko Moria, one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Well, Luffy explains, they were looking for him anyway to get Brook's shadow back, but if they so happen to get everyone else's shadow back, then it's a win-win all around. Now with a name, Luffy and friends set out to find Gecko Moria and beat him up, but he's not the only one behind this whole operation. In Dr. Hogback's laboratory, Nami, Chopper, and Usopp witness him working on a zombie. While pissed that they discovered his laboratory, Hogback is not too concerned. It's almost midnight, and whatever secrets they discover will be useless when they join the legions of the undead on Thriller Bark. The clock strikes midnight, and the night hunt begins, and the ringleaders of this whole operation emerge from the shadows. Absalom of the Graveyard summons his zombie soldiers and generals, ready to hunt down all intruders. Ghost Princess Perona gathers her ghosts around her, ready to strike fear and despair into the hearts of any who gets in her way. The aforementioned Dr. Hogback, master surgeon, prepares the corpses, making them fit to be turned into a powerful zombie. And Gecko Moria, the captain of this unholy crew, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, awakens from his slumber, ready to take his next victim. Nami, Chopper, and Usopp are all cut down by the zombie samurai, who's named Ryuma from the country of Wano in the New World, which I'm sure will never play a part in the main story, and are carted off to Gecko Moria to be turned into zombies. They escaped and are attacked by the wild zombies, but are surprisingly saved by one of them, a penguin dog zombie named Inupup. I apologize if I mispronounced that name, who is acting a lot like Sanji for some reason. As that is happening, Luffy's group makes short work of every zombie that gave Nami, Chopper, and Usopp trouble. That's something I find really cool, but are eventually picked off one by one. Sanji, Zoro, and even Luffy are all taken, leaving only Frankie and Robin to fight off the general zombies. They're tough, especially when some zombies are starting to act like their crewmates. One such zombie, Jigoro of the Wind, again I apologize if I mispronounced that name, a diaper-wearing zombie that's mimicking Zoro's three swords style technique. It's clear that Frankie and Robin stand no chance against this many zombies, and they run across the bridge to the other part of the island called Masked Mansion. They run into the general zombie Tarlan, a spider monkey zombie, just go with it, who subdues them with his sticky web. It seems everything is lost, but then they all hear laughter and then singing. Yo ho ho ho, yo ho ho ho, yo ho ho ho, yo ho ho ho. Time to ship out Binks's brew, sea winds blows to where who knows, the waves will be our guide. Or across the ocean's tide, the sun sits boiling a mile wide. See the sky in circles passes by. Thank you, I will be the opening act for the Soul King in Sabaody 2 years from now. It's Brook, falling down from the heavens to save Frankie and Robin. Brook defeats Tarlan, and when he does, a black substance flows out of his mouth. Now the Straw Hats are on the island. Brook figures he might as well tell him everything about the island, his past, and what exactly is going on here. Brook came to Thriller Bark 5 years ago to fix the rudder on his ship to get out of the Florian Triangle. However, he was captured by Gecko Moria and witnesses his Devil Fruit power, the Shadow Fruit. Moria has the power to rip a person's shadow from their feet and stuff it into a corpse, making the zombies the Straw Hats have been fighting up until now. Think of the shadow that's been following you around your entire life as another soul, so to speak. Moria can take that soul and use it to breathe new life into a corpse. Brook explains that depending on the physical strength of the corpse and the spiritual strength of the shadow, it will determine how strong the zombies are. That is why Dr. Hogback is essential for this operation. Because of his master surgical skills, he can make strong corpses for the shadows to possess. Moria has been doing this operation for 10 years now, luring straw pirates into the Florian Triangle, stealing their shadows or corpses if they die too soon, and robbing cemeteries of strong legendary warriors like Ryuma to bolster his army so he can become king of the pirates. Something Luffy takes great offense to as he hears it from Moria's mouth himself. He's in a cage in front of the warlord and the other three. Moria takes his shadow and he is knocked out. Luffy is taken back to the Thousand Sunny as Moria and the rest of the Mysterious Four take the shadow to a special zombie, one that Hogback's been working on for 10 years. Meanwhile, Chopper, Usopp, and Nami are hiding within Kumansi, Perona's doll servant. They were being chased by Absalom a while back, but with the help of Inupup and Lola, a warthog zombie with the hots for Absalom, they managed to get away. Beats the fuck out of me how they got into the damn bear. Back with Brook's group, he explains the plan. Robin and Frankie are to head back to the Sunny. The Shadow Fruit has a unique quirk or weakness depending on how you look at it. If a person who loses their shadow dies, then the shadow within the zombie dies as well. They are always connected. One cannot exist without the other. Moria knows this, so he sets his victims free out into the wild blue world. Before Brook leaves to get his shadow back, he mentions that the only way to permanently kill a zombie is to put a bit of salt in its mouth. This purifies the body, and the shadow leaves to find its original owner. Brook knows this weakness because he was on Thriller Bark 5 years ago, as already mentioned. He got a shadow stolen, but fled, afraid for his life. But today he is willing to die again to get it back and fulfill a promise to an old friend. Moria and his little gang to go to the vault containing the special 900th zombie. The time has come for him to unveil his ace, his trump card, the continent puller, the beast! Oars! Moria puts Luffy's shadow into the giant's corpse, and Oars starts to move. Almost ready to shit themselves, Usopp, Chopper, and Nami all fall out of Kumansi and make a break for it. Now that they've been discovered, Absalom goes after them as Orb screams for Mate! Nami is captured, and Chopper and Usopp are rescued by Frankie and Robin. They all make it back to the Sunny as Moria is feeding Oars. This is another quirk of the Shadow fruit. The corpse will have the personality of the person whose shadow is in them. So, in this case, imagine a 60-meter tall Monkey D. Luffy. Dear God. Luckily, the real Monkey D. Luffy is safe and sound on the Thousand Sunny along with Sanji and Zoro. They are all conked out because of Moria, but Usopp wakes them up quite easily. Frankie and company catch them up on what's been going on. About Moria, the zombies, the Shadow fruit, Nami being kidnapped, and the situation about Brook. 50 years ago, Brook was on the crew of the Rumbar Pirates. They had to leave behind someone at Reverse Mountain because it was too dangerous for them to go along with them in the Grand Line. They promised they would be back, however, but they were attacked and Brook was the only survivor. Now Brook basically has nothing to live for now. His flesh is gone, everyone who he knew is dead, and the loneliness of being at sea for 50 years has made him want to die, I'm pretty sure on multiple occasions. He has nothing left but that promise to the friend they left behind. Something to keep him going after all this time. A promise that one day he will return to that friend of his. A friend the Straw Hats know, the Island Whale Laboon, who is still waiting for his dear friends to return one day. A day he's been waiting for 50 years now. Now with more determination than ever, the Straw Hats head back into the Thriller Bark, determined to get their shadows back as well as a new member of their Nakama. The Straw Hats split up with three objectives in mind. 1. Defeat Moria so they can get their shadows back and return the shadows of everyone else that Moria stole. 2. Rescue Nami. Sanji's on that. And 3. Check up on Brook, who is fighting Ryuma, and it's not looking good. They all go out, but because of Oars crashing through the bridge, Usopp and Sanji tag along with Frankie and Zoro, leaving Luffy, Robin, and Chopper to beat Moria. Luffy's group comes across Dr. Hogback, who has Sindri, Inupep, and Jigoro by his side. Robin and Chopper stay behind as Luffy heads to Moria. Chopper lost all respect for Dr. Hogback at this point, claiming that he's no doctor or even human for that matter because of all the misery he created for so many people. And also disrespecting the dead. Don't forget that, Dr. Chopper. Robin deals with Jigoro and Inupep, while Chopper begs Sindri to remember her lost humanity. She begins to cry as Hogback makes a break for it, but Chopper stops him. However, Oars comes crashing through the wall, now completely under Moria's control. But before we continue that, let's back up and see what's going on with Zoro's group. They run into Perona, and she has the power of the Hollow Fruit. She's been making the ghosts they've been seeing all throughout Thriller Bark. Now, if these ghosts go through a person, then that person is filled with despair and self-loathing, regardless of how strong-willed they are. A terrifying power if used correctly. Zoro, Sanji, and Frankie stand no match against these ghosts, but Usopp does. The others continue their journey as Usopp stands his ground. The ghosts have no effect on him, because he's already pessimistic and sad, even more so than the ghosts themselves, much to Perona's shock. This is both a badass Usopp moment and a sad Usopp moment. Still, Usopp has to bust out Soge King in order to defeat Perona. Well, defeat isn't the right word. Traumatize sounds more appropriate. Also, he might have developed a split personality with the Soge King, but that's neither here nor there. Usopp goes out to join the others, but let's rewind a bit and see what happened to Sanji. He makes it to the church where Absalom is going to marry Nami and beats the ever-living shit out of him. Sanji is pissed for several reasons because of the Lion Man. Being kidnapping and almost marrying Nami is pretty sure to get anyone's neck broken, but Absalom went one step further. He ruined Sanji's dream. Not to travel to the All Blue, but because he ate the clear fruit. Sanji wanted that fruit above all other devil fruits, because of all the good he could do in the world, and the acts of generosity one could achieve while invisible. Yeah. No, he just wanted to be in on nude girls, just like Absalom was doing. While Sanji does beat Absalom, he does get away with Nami. However, Sanji has bigger things to worry about now. But before we can talk about that, let's travel back in time and see what happened to Zoro and Frankie. They meet up with Brook, who was soundly defeated by Ryuma. Zoro then challenges the samurai so he can get the sword it was holding, Chusui, and maybe gets Brook's shadow back if he had time. Zoro wins and gets Chusui, naturally, and Brook gets his shadow back. Sadly, Ryuma was the least of their problems as the tower they were on comes crashing down. Now let's rewind one last time and see what happened with Luffy. He meets with Moria and demands the warlord fight him. But Moria is too lazy, and simply has his shadow do it for him. However, before the fight could get good, Oars arrives ready to heed his master's orders. Those orders? Crush the Straw Hat Pirates and throw them out to sea. If they die, so be it. She. Oars then begins stomping all across the Thriller Bark, trying to find the Straw Hats. Oars interrupts Chopper and Robin's fight with Hogback, but he stepped on, so it's all well and good. He's the reason Sanji was distracted, allowing Absalom to take Nami, and he destroyed the tower Frankie, Brook, and Zoro were on. Now all the Straw Hats, Brook is basically one of them at this point, minus Luffy and Nami, all must gather together to bring down this giant among giants. And they lose. Straw Hat Pirates versus Oars. Round 2, fight! That's basically what the rest of this arc is. The Straw Hats fare much better in this round, getting in several serious hits out on Oars. Nami joins them as well, after her marriage to Absalom gets interrupted by his, let's be honest here, one true love. Things turn for the worst as Moria joins Oars in the fight, piloting him in his stomach and controlling his shadow via Shadow Revolution to mimic Luffy's stretching powers, making it really feel like the Straw Hats are fighting a giant version of their captain. Speaking of Luffy, he got lost trying to find Moria, but he ran into the Thriller Bark Victims Association. They help him fight back against Oars by putting the shadows of 100 people into him, turning Luffy into Nightmare Luffy. Nightmare Luffy easily beats out Moors, and Moria who is in Oars. But while Oars may seem beaten, he gets back up. However, victory is in sight. Each and every attack the Straw Hats did contributed towards this victory. Oars and zombies in general cannot feel pain. Moria sees this as an advantage when it's a weakness. Pain tells us something is wrong with our bodies and gets us to seek medical attention. Without it, we would work our bodies into the ground and become reckless, much like Oars. Nightmare Luffy becomes regular Luffy as all the shadows come out of him, and Oars gets back up. The Straw Hat Pirates only have a few more moments before the sun comes up and half of their crew is disintegrated, so they pull out all the stops. Chopper comes up with a plan, Nami makes it rain, and Frankie and Usopp use the pipes from the freezer on Thriller Bark to freeze the water and Oars. Sanji restrains the giant with a giant steering chain. Zoro makes Oars tuck in his gut. This makes Oars look up at his impending death. Luffy readying a gum giant bazooka! This is all part of Chopper's plan. The human spine is S-shaped so it can withstand impacts and support the weight. Straighten that sucker out and it will snap like a twig. Now, there aren't many moments in One Piece that make me cringe, but Luffy smacking oars with giant bazooka and seeing his spine snap and crack is definitely one of them, but dang, I'd be lying if it wasn't awesome. Now, Oars is not dead, just immobilized, which is just as good. Now all that's left to do is get Moria to give back all the shadows on Thriller Bark. Moria climbs out of Oars and mocks Luffy. He may have an impressive crew, but at their level, they're doomed. He was just like him once. He loved his old crew, but they were wiped out in the New World by Kaido. He realized his old crew's flaws was their mortality, so he set up Thriller Bark so he can have a crew of zombies who will never die. This honestly makes me wonder if Moria was like Luffy before he lost his crew, since he's basically just suffering from the grief of lost. And it does make you wonder how would Luffy react if he lost any of his crew. But that's neither here nor there. What matters most is that Moria has one last trick up his sleeve. He absorbs the shadows of all the zombies on Thriller Bark, gaining their strength, just like what happened with Nightmare Luffy for his final trump card. Shadows as God! Despite being monstrously strong, Moria is fading in and out of consciousness. It's clear he's just buying for time until the sun comes up, so all of his enemies will disintegrate, not caring if he has their shadows or not. Despite that, though, he doesn't stand a chance against a pissed-off Luffy. He goes to gear 2nd and 3rd at the same time and beats the shit out of Moria and frees all the shadows. They all scatter around the world, returning to their original owners, and for the Straw Hats who lost theirs, just in the nick of time before the sun comes up. And so the day is saved thanks to... Hold that thought. During the whole commotion, another warlord of the sea showed up, the tyrant Bartholomew Kuma. Kuma is one of the biggest mysteries of One Piece in my opinion. He has hands in just about everything, but all you need to know about him at this point is that he's loyal to the government, has the power of the pawpaw fruit, is a cyborg and a teddy bear at the same time. He's under orders to clean up Thriller Bark as the defeat of another warlord so soon after the defeat of Crocodile will cause a bit of a stir. Fortunately, Zoro steps up and offers Kuma a deal. Take his head in place of Luffy's. Kuma doesn't go that far, but instead uses his powers to make Zoro experience all the pain and suffering Luffy got from his battle with Oars and Moria. It's enough to make a normal man die. But for Zoro, it's Tuesday for him. Kuma leaves after seeing the lengths Luffy's crew will go to for their captain. But now that he's gone, there's only one thing left to do before the Straw Hats leave Thriller Bark. Party! Yes, everyone is lively and merry, eating their fill and then some and drinking until they throw up so they can drink some more. But none is happier than Brook. He got his shadow back, and now he can fulfill his dream of returning to Laboon and play him that song again, Bink Sake. A dream he can fulfill while a part of the Straw Hat Pirates. Soon enough, the Straw Hats set sail. They bid farewell to the Victims Association and their leader, Lola, whose shadow was in Absalom's one true love. She and Nami bonded, and Lola advises them to look up her mother in the New World. She can help them out. Oh, Lola, you sweet, naive child. Soon after the Straw Hats leave, Lola and her merry band soon head out, but not before seeing something in the mist around Thriller Bark. Figures that dwarf the island ship by tenfold. Remember, ships have been going missing in the Florian Triangle long before Moria set up his zombie operation on Thriller Bark 10 years ago. And it looks like those ships will keep on disappearing for many years to come. So ends the Thriller Bark arc of One Piece. this has been a job and a half. I'm having trouble gathering up my thoughts because, well, the Thriller Bark arc is really all good. Like, there's really nothing bad I can say about it. It's really good. Uh, uh, it, uh, I think the main draw for this arc is its aesthetic. You know, all the cues from various horror franchises. What it took and just crammed right into the arc. That spooky the spooky horror aesthetic that it drips with, the atmosphere, and that all gets thrown out the window about halfway through the arc. When Straw Hats are basically all right, we've seen the scary stuff. Now let's get our shadows back. I really like that transition, and I also like how Luffy's group easily just beats every zombie that Nami, Chopper, and Usopp's group had they gave him trouble with. That was very cathartic, if you ask me. What else can I say about this arc? Oh yeah, oh yeah. The antagonist, Gecko Moria, one of the 7 warlords of the sea. You know, at first glance, Moria just seems like a lazy good for nothing. You know, just some guy who Luffy needs to punch to get everyone's shadows back. But I tell you, the more you think about him, the more interesting he got. The more I thought about him, the more interesting he got. Like we know, he went to the new world with his previous crew, and they got their asses kicked by Kaido. And Moria was the only survivor of that, as far as we know. And that really messed with him. Like, I'm going to say that, and I think that Moria was a lot like Luffy in his younger days. You know, just reckless. Russian first, ask question later, that sort of thing. That probably explains why he got his ass kicked by Kaido. He just bit off more than he could chew, and he paid the ultimate price for it. Yeah, and with that said, it really makes you question what would happen to Luffy if something like that happened to him. Now I know Luffy has already lost people in his life. A little later on in the story, there's Workus Ace, and before that, there was Sabo. At least as far as he knew. But I'm talking about is that he lost his entire crew, like just like that. Like I don't think Luffy will go down the same path as Moria, but he would, he would become a lot darker and a bit more serious, if you ask me. So yeah, all right. And I gotta say and by far the most interesting aspect about Moria is his devil fruit. As with it's sort of like an interesting devil fruit can make or break a character. You know, if the character is really lame or just uninteresting, they can have a really cool devil fruit ability. Yeah. However, Moria has the best of both worlds, so to speak. He's an interesting character and has a really powerful devil fruit if you think about it. I'm not just talking about the whole making zombies about that. That manipulating your own shadow alone it makes us one of the more powerful devil fruits, if you ask me, or one of the most versatile ones. Like you can basically control this own shadowy substance to your own will. That basically fight for you, or yeah, or get you things like a nice cup of coffee or some popcorn, uh, or maybe some infiltration, because Moria can swap himself out with a shadow fruit at any time he wants. I didn't mention that in summary because it really didn't play a grand role in the grand scheme of things. It just sort of raised the stakes when he stole Robin's shadow. But yeah, like if someone more stealthy ate the fruit, they can send their shadow in then swap places with it, and basically do whatever enter the do whatever they want unnoticed. That's really cool. And also that whole shadow revolution ability, that was really cool and interesting. Basically, whatever your shadow did by the laws of nature in the One Piece world, you have to copy. Which if One Piece was a bit more mature, Moria can really mess people up with that. Like imagine Moria just sending his shadow into someone else's shadow, then then manipulating it to tie their arms together, in a knot, and then just calling your shadow back. What would happen there? Well, there would the person's arms just stay like that, or would they just stay tight, or just snap right back to normal? And if that was the case, will that affect the user's body? Well, or is not a really good example because he was an undead zombie. But yeah, after that, uh, uh, I'll get to ores in a minute. I just want to continue talking about the shadow fruit. And yeah, yeah, yeah. That now, if Moria could just do that and was a bit more ambitious and a bit more intelligent, he he could easily be considered one of the strongest warlords of the sea, if you ask me. But he also has the ability to rip someone's shadow out and put it in a corpse, basically making his own undead army. Now, now, if Moria again was a bit more ambitious and much more intelligent, then I can easily see him be becoming a Yonko, like one of the four emperors of the sea. Like 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 the zombies are completely obedient to you. Like like uh Martin, not counting the little gap between the the little discrepancy gap between the time the shadow was put in. Yeah, yeah. But after that time is up, any zombie, no matter how strong it is or how strong the shadow is, they are completely 100% obedient to you. Again, that's a really dangerous ability if you stop and think about it. Mori can just basically well, I'm not saying this would happen, but take Kaido's corpse, put a shadow like say Whitebeard's shadow in it, stuff it in there, and you bam after some time passed, you would have a completely obedient like Kaido beard or something like that. Beard, yeah, like yeah. Again, it's one of those fruits that if it's in the right hands hands, you can basically rule the world with it. But like, I'm not saying it wasn't in the right hands because of Moria. It wasn't in wrong hands, so to speak. Just that Moria was very slothful and lazy about how he approached things. Like his motto was, "Hurry up and make me king of the pirates," and that was really and like he got far, but not as far as he could be. If he was more ambitious. A good devil fruit will get you far, but far, but in order to get farther, it really comes down to your own ambition. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about Moria and the Shadow Fruit. Now let's get to ores. Like, oh man, like I can just imagine like when the chapter that had the straw hats finding that barrel, no one could have imagined like that they would be fighting a giant among giants in just a couple dozen chapters. Like that is just oh man. Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. And yeah, really not much to comment on the fight itself. And because it's just the Straw Hats versus a giant, which is cool, but I can't really exactly commentate on that. Like, sorry. Yeah. And also and and yeah, one thing about this arc is that it plants the seeds for stuff to come later. I think the biggest seed was definitely uh Wano. As far as I know, this was the first time Wano was mentioned, and I know currently the Straw Hats are in there are in that country fighting against Kaido. Kaido, like just like Moria was all those years back. Like yeah, and this is the same arc Zoro got Shusui, and he would eventually go to Wano and return Shusui to its rightful place, and would trade that in to get Enma. So yeah, and what else was introduced in the story? Kuma, like I wasn't lying when I said I consider him one of the biggest mysteries in One Piece. Like we know next to nothing about his backstory, except he may have been a prince to 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 a kingdom called the Sorbet Kingdom, and he may have connections with Julie Brabani, which is a character coming up in the very next arc. No wait, yeah, uh, yeah, and that's basically it with Kuma. We know next to nothing about him. Like we keep finding new stuff about him. Like it's so funny. Like every time he appears, it feels like we just get the details of something much bigger than that. Because we know Kuma was or slash is uh, in the Revolutionary Army. So and he's a pirate working for the government. So I wasn't kidding when I said he had hands all over the place. Yeah, and also that he's a teddy bear. I think that's an established fact. Yeah. What else? What else? What else? Yeah. I guess I should explain what happened to Moria, Absalom, Doctor Hogback, and Perona. I didn't really mention them. Mention what happened to them after they got knocked out after their fight. But basically, they all fled Thriller Bark. Uh, Hogback survived being stepped on by oars. I don't know how that happened, but hey, I'm not a doctor. Uh, he woke up Absalom, and they got Moria out of there and out to sea. Uh, I don't know when that happened, but hey, I'm not I'm not a lion man with power to become invisible. You know, yeah. And basically, they left to do their own stuff. Now we don't know what happened to Dr. Hogback, but Moria would eventually go to participate in the Marineford War. That's coming up later. Again, the, that was hinted at. That was one of the seeds planted in this arc, or basically, yeah. And as what happened to Absalom, this was something explained in an SBS, I think. But Absalom became a freelance reporter, and and because he had the clear fruit, he can get the the top scoop on stories, if you know what I mean. And yeah, now now Absalom got Moria out. Now, hang on, I'm stumbling over my words. After the war, Moria was laying there almost uh, defeated, but Absalom came and used his clear powers to get him out of there. And yeah, and Moria and the world government revoked his warlord title. Uh, we don't know what happened during the 2 year time skip, but Moria sent Absalom to investigate Blackbeard. I don't know but basically, Absalom is now dead, which kind of sucks. Like since his death was off screen, but after what he did to Nami, I don't feel as strongly either way about him. Uh, and his devil fruit, and, and the new owner of the clear fruit is Shiryu of the Rain, another character with the I'll talk about it if we ever get to the Impel Down arc. And yeah, and as for Moria, he went straight to Blackbeard, which you got handed to him. Like you think after Tokaido, Moria would just stay clear of any Yonko, but he's got massive brass, uh, I mean massive white balls if you ask me. And yeah, and as far as we know, Moria is working for Blackbeard, which I find appropriate. You know, darkness and shadow sort of go hand in hand. Oh yeah, and 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 I'm ignoring the most important thing that got introduced to this in this arc. Brooke, the latest Straw Hat, a new Straw Hat, and for the longest time the most recent one until Jinbei officially joined up about 2 years ago. Uh, and yeah, Brooke, he's great. I wouldn't. He's not my. I haven't done my official Straw Hat rankings in a while, so I don't know where Brooke stands, but yeah, he's fun. He's fun. He's a musician, and you tell me a single soul that doesn't love to hear Brooke sing Bink Sake. And if you do, don't worry. I know a guy. Anyway, yeah, Brooke's a great character. Like, uh, like, uh, like he was so he he was determined. It's hard to talk about Brooke without talking about his backstory. So let me just get that out of the way. Like, uh, I'm going to say that I think Brooke has the most depressing backstory out of the whole Straw Hats. Like, sure, sure. The closest would have to be Nico Robin and what happened with O'Hara, but and that is dark. Don't get me wrong, but Brooke, I feel like suffered longer. Like, it's weird. Like, they're both sad, but for different reasons. Robinson is sad because it shows just how corrupt the world government is. You know, Well, Brooke is sad because what happened to him was basically a random chance. It was random chance that the chance they got stranded in the Flying Triangle. It was random chance that, they got attacked by those pirates. It was random chance that they got that Brooke is just so happened to eat the revive fruit, and it was just so random chance that they made that promise to Laboon, which kept Brooke going after all these years. So yeah, now that could be says now that could be yeah 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 yeah, that's what I think about Brooke. Yeah, ugh, stumbling over my words. I apologize. That's what I that's why I consider Brooke having the saddest backstory of all the Dryads. The fact that there was pretty much random chances about what happened to him, and the fact that he suffered so long, like 50 years. Brooke was 38 when he died, so that means that he was I don't want to say dead, alive the second time longer than he was alive the first time. And keep in mind and completely alone for 50 years. Like, just imagine that, being alone, being alone on the day of your birth, all the way up to till you're 50. Like, most men will just break. And Frankie even said that if he was in Brooke's shoes, he would have killed himself a long time ago. Like that's just messed up, especially considering how happy and go lucky Frankie is. Yeah, but Brooke keep, just Brooke just wanted to keep that promise. That promise to Laboon, and I don't want to say this because it sort of diminishes Brooke's character a bit, but I would say like, first starting off no wait, I'm just gonna say it. Uh, I feel like that promise to Laboon was more like a thing to keep Brooke sane during his years on that ship. Like, one day, Laboon, I'm going to come back and see you again. He, Wait, I don't have eyes. And also, I think that the skull jokes he developed the skull jokes as another way to just keep him sane. Because 50 years alone, that's going to mess people up. And and you really got to wonder, like, just what what sort of stuff Brooke did on that ship alone. Nothing. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I don't mean to diminish Brooke's character. Like, if anything, it's what kept him going. It's basically what I'm saying. And it was a promise that he made while he was still alive the first time. Like, don't worry, guys. I'll make sure to see a Laboon again. For for everyone else. Yeah. Yeah. Again. And Brooke kept going after 50 years. Like, and he's not going to 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 do a U-turn and sail back to Reverse Mountain. No, he's going to meet Laboon on the other side, just like he promised all those years ago. Which which you got to commend him. You know. So yeah, because of that, Brooke is an awesome character, and also the skull jokes. Skull jokes. Skull jokes. I can't take that away from him. They're the most memorable thing about him. And yeah, I think that's just about everything about Thriller Bark. Yeah, overall great arc, yeah, great villain, and great new Straw Hat. So yeah, over. Uh, though I should mention this, uh, because of it's hard to explain, but because the chapters are so densely packed, the reading the reading feels a bit slow, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that's bad. It's just that it feels slow. No, especially especially when a new chapter is released, like you're following it as it's being released. It would feel a bit slow, like things are being sluggish. I'm not saying stuff doesn't happen in those chapters. Like each chapter does move the story along, but it does feel slow. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Just I'm saying that don't don't read up 50 chapters in one sitting is what I'm saying. So yeah, overall great arc. Like just on the aesthetics alone, but along with a great villain, an even better Straw Hat, and and an awesome final battle. Like really ties things up as one of the last story arcs from the first half of One Piece. And yeah, I don't know which story arc I'll summarize next, but who knows? I'm that guy with the tripod, signing out. See you next time, guys.